Okay, can you explain? We're hearing from a lot of families that their kids are being suspended or sent home, or the parents being called to come pick up their child. Can you explain when the school's allowed to do that and what the rules are around that?
Well, first of all, you should know what the handbook says. So you should read the handbook that you get to see what the code of conduct is and what qualifies for a child to be sent home. What I happen to see is that, and it happens mostly with charter schools, will be excluding children who they think have disabilities. And I know the the ACLU did a study on that and found that charter schools were excluding children of color and children with disabilities. So if a charter school suspects that a child has a disability, they'll be suspending them and trying to expel them. And we've dealt with that with 6-year-olds actually being long-term suspended or expelled. So what happens is I want to look at all the records. I want to see also that 45-day screening report. That is gold to me because that looks at different areas of the child. It looks at the motor functioning, communication style, physical development, social behavioral, academics. And if there are areas of concern, then the school team needs to meet and at least monitor the child. And so you're looking at that. I want to see what behaviors the school was seeing in the first 45 days because those are red flags that should suggest that a child has a disability and triggers the school's child find obligation. Child find obligation requires schools to evaluate children that they suspect may have a disability. Not know have a disability, but just suspect. Very low threshold, low bar. So the fact is that children who, especially when they're young, shouldn't be suspended. Any child who is being suspended over time, something's going on. What behaviors are they being suspended for? Is it noncompliance? Is it running out? Is it not doing work? Sometimes schools are taking a hardline stance and disciplining children for behaviors that could really be fixed also with the behavior plan. So when we see these children, we're going to tell the parents to request an evaluation because kids shouldn't be suspended. Schools shouldn't be suspending kids. They should be working and finding out what's causing these behaviors and let's fix them rather than punishing these kids. And not only that, some of these kids, it's a reward because they like being home. They get to be sent home and not have to work. So schools can suspend a child up to 10 school days in a school year. Sometimes more depending on how far apart the behaviors are, how far apart these suspensions are, and if they're similar behaviors or not. So basically the rule is up to 10 days. At 10 days, then due process rights kick in. So if someone calls and says, my kid's suspended for 3 days, whether they have an IEP or not, we say there's nothing we could do at that point. However, you should ask for, if the child has an IEP, ask for an IEP meeting. Or if you're concerned, then ask for an evaluation. Okay, but 10 days, then the child is entitled to constitutional due process, which means notice and an opportunity. That means they appear before the so-called independent hearing officer, who isn't really independent because they're hired by the school, they're paid by the school, sometimes they're on staff for the school, to determine whether the child committed a violation of the code of conduct, and then they're out. And then the appeal is to the governing board.
Do parents need to hire a lawyer for that?
No, you never need to hire a lawyer. I mean, all you have to read, the procedural safeguards, you should read them. They're hard to understand, but read different sections. Don't read it cover to cover like a book. Look at the parts that apply to you. Go on to rights law. Ask other parents. So,
okay. But if it were you, do you have a lawyer?
I was my sister's lawyer. Now she's my partner, and so sometimes I can't. You should never have to hire a lawyer.
Okay. Thank you.
And generally, what we do is we'll contact the school attorney to try to work something out. And when they get a call from us, they know there's a problem.
Awesome.